Thursday, the 9th of July, and as we get into the forecast, we could be seeing some interesting weather in the next few days, and I really hate using that word because, again, it's capable of all sorts of misinterpretations and variations. So it's going to be on the soggy side. So if you have outdoor activities, that could be just a bit of a problem. So if you have that going on, definitely want to make certain that you are ready to go when it comes to severe weather potential and a lot of other activities coming our direction for outdoors into the weekend and beyond. So for now, again, things are relatively quiet. Here's hoping it stays that way. There is the potential of some severe weather coming our direction as well, so that also could be, just a bit of a concern. And we see also the potential for that rainfall chance sticking around as we go into next week. So stick around for more, and we'll have details on everything here coming up in just a little bit. Let's verify that we are online and waiting. And it looks like we are not. Okay, why are we not online with Facebook? Okay, now we are. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so here we go. Started the clock. We wait. We have airing this so that everybody on Facebook can see our great sponsor, Epicos Comics, Cards, and Games. If everything works in about the next, give or take, a couple of weeks, probably by the end of the month, if we keep on a semi-normal schedule here, I believe it'll be in about a week and a half to where we will see our 500th weather overtime since we got going on here a couple of years ago. After I got here, it took a little while to get everything where it needed to be to get started, and thanks to everybody here at News 12 who helped to get that activity going on here. Couldn't have done it without the engineering staff and everybody else, so thank you very much to everybody for helping out on all of that. We'll talk more about that coming up here in just a little bit, so stay tuned for more there. And for Facebook, here we go. All right, good Thursday evening, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. We are on a little bit earlier tonight, thanks in part to the fact that we've got some recording stuff going on here in the studio. It's Thursday, so at about 10 o'clock, we record some things that happen into the weekend, and you'll see that on News 12 coming up over the course of the next several days. But in order to get that finished, I have to get this started a little bit earlier, so we are on at about 9:30 or a little bit around that time frame. This is Weather Overtime. If you've never been here before, this is your opportunity to ask questions about the forecast and to get an idea as to what is going on out there. It's a beautiful night. It is very quiet. Hopefully, coming up later this evening, by the time we're recording this, it's about a half an hour away. About 10:20, the Chinese space station should be visible overhead if all the skies are clear enough to see. We'll talk about that. We'll have your weekend forecast, better possibility of flash flooding in the near future. Add to that, there's a potential for severe weather as well. It's not a huge possibility, but it is still a possibility. So stay tuned, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a bit. Again, very close to normal on the high and low temperatures for this time of the year. Officially no rainfall. We're closing in on an inch behind on rain for July and 7 2/3 inches below normal for the entire year. We could use some rainfall desperately. Our drought situation continues. We'll take a look at that coming up here in just a little bit. Out for a late night snack run. It is going to be mild. Temperatures back into the mid-70s at best. Not much better than that anytime soon. We'll talk more about what the weekend looks like. It does look like some nicer temperatures thanks to the clouds and rainfall dropping the numbers for a little bit. Being a native Kansan, I have to say I approve of this picture. Thanks a lot to News 12 viewer Susan from Fort Oglethorpe for a very nice close-up on what looks to be a giant sunflower. Beautiful mathematical patterns in the seas wrapping around there. That is our HEP heating weather window picture of the day. You can get those pictures to us by email, drop them to social media, or go to WDEF.com/photos to drop yours off. Got a few more thunderstorms happening down between Dalton and around Atlanta, but those thunderstorms have been falling apart. So there's not really that much going on where it comes to anything in the way of stronger thunderstorms. We've had our share of showers and thunderstorms across the area. A lot more activity along that next front taking place from the boot heel of Missouri up across the Ohio River Valley and just up to the south of Chicago. Now that is dropping our direction, but whether or not this begins to give us more activity north and west of us to worry about tonight, that does not appear to be a threat for right now. So that in and of itself is good news. But more activity like this could be a potential problem as we get into overnight and tomorrow right north of us, and then going into the area tomorrow. Better potential of severe weather will be back with us yet again. So if you have any outdoor plans tomorrow, definitely want to pay attention to what's going on with that forecast. Numbers right before the top of the hour. It is 9:41 p.m. Eastern time as we record this, back into the low 70s to the low to mid 80s. If you're just tuning in here for the first time, this is our broadcast coverage area: southeast Tennessee, northeast Alabama, north central, northwest Georgia, around the Blue Ridge and Appalachians, and western areas of North Carolina, including Cherokee County, North Carolina. Those are the states that we cover here at News 12 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Not seeing any blazing hot conditions as of about 10 o'clock Eastern time. Still very mild, and of course, still very much on the humid side. The storm system that's coming in will be giving us a very good chance of some extra chances of showers and thunderstorms, and that is why the National Weather Service has now expanded the flood watch that was in effect for Grundy County, Tennessee, but is now in effect across all counties in Tennessee in the News 12 viewing area, and that's in effect north of the Tennessee line from today through about mid-evening on Sunday. Cherokee County, North Carolina, you are also included in this, as is Hamilton County, Tennessee, coming to you from southern Hamilton County in the town of Chattanooga. It doesn't seem like much here to where we get some rainfall. It doesn't look like a huge amount, but 2 to possibly as much as 4 inches in some locations. All that falling in one time frame, or a very short time frame, and falling again numerous storms over the same location again and again and again. That's called training. It's like the cars on a train track going over the same spot repeatedly, dropping more chances of rainfall all the way on through, and that is where we could see the threat of flash flooding. So this, again, technically doesn't look like a big problem until you get stuck in one of those heavier areas of showers and thunderstorms, and that is where we're going to be seeing part of the problem coming our way. Now, the front itself is sitting just to our north over portions of the Midwest and just around the Great Lakes, but that is moving into that moisture-rich environment, and that will be giving us the potential for more of those showers and thunderstorms into the course of the next several days. So outdoor plans really going to have to pay attention to this. The risk of severe weather is there, as is the potential, again, of that flash flooding. So the front begins to sag a little farther south, kind of ambling its way through. It's not going to be really directly impacting the area until we get into Saturday. Then some cooler, slightly more stable air north of that front moves on through and then drops us with the potential of rainfall. Might diminish a little bit on Sunday, but then we see this area of low pressure developing back to our west. That could help to kick up more moisture heading up this way, so it is possible that we could see a re-intensification. It depends on how well that area of high pressure back across the eastern seaboard is able to deliver into our area the possibility of drier air, and that'll hopefully curtail the chances of rain before it gets to be too much, but there will be chances of rain going right on into next week, and that flash flooding risk could continue. Severe weather chances back to our northwest tonight, but again, I don't think this is anything for us to be concerned about for now. Friday and into Saturday, that is where we see the best potential for severe weather. It's a 1 out of 5 marginal threat, and again, for Friday, we see everybody in the News 12 viewing area pick up that possibility of severe weather, and again on Saturday. So again, if that's what we're looking for in the way of potential, what exactly is the threat that we're talking about? Damaging winds are going to be the worst potential. Anything in those storms could go well over 55 miles per hour at times, and also that potential of flash flooding that we were talking about. Now, this does not look to be a severe weather outbreak situation to where we get into around, say, slight, enhanced, moderate, or the highest one, the high level right there, the 5 out of 5, not looking like that. But we do see the potential, again, of damaging winds, so anybody outdoors is really going to have to pay attention to this Friday afternoon and evening, and again, coming up on Saturday, pretty much throughout the entire day on Saturday. Low temperatures tonight, about where they have been, back into the mid to high 60s, so we do see some very mild conditions out there into the course of the next couple of nights, and high temperatures about where they have been, back in the high 80s, mid to high 80s to around the low 90s. With enough sunshine, I would not be surprised to see a few more of these lower to mid 90s possible. Again, not as blazing hot as it was last week, but it's not going to be cool either anytime soon. So enjoy the air conditioning while you can. Now, the good news is in the last few days, we have seen over the last 30 days, in fact, a big reduction in the deficit of the drought that we've been having. Still a problem from Oklahoma across the south over toward the Carolinas. That's the worst potential that we see for drought because of that lack of rainfall. Now, the drought monitor was heading in the right direction. Unfortunately, it has started to increase again because we did not really pick up enough rainfall over the last several days. So the drought situation got a lot better, and now it's starting to get worse again with the worst conditions out there over portions of western North Carolina, and again, increasing drought threat across much of the region, going from a 1 out of 5 dry all the way up to a 3 out of 5 severe, set back to the east of Chattanooga, into the Blue Ridge, and into East Tennessee, western North Carolina. So that is where we're seeing the worst of the worst. Now, for the tropics, again, lots of dust across the Atlantic from Africa to the Caribbean. That is helping to block any tropical storm development by filtering out the sunshine and keeping things much more calm. Usually in a very dry, dusty environment like this is, you're not going to see anything really pop up. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Over the Pacific, we've got 3 storm systems lined up from western Central America across the eastern Pacific. Not all of them have a great chance for development, but there is that potential that we may see some development out of these. And if you're heading to the Hawaiian Islands in the next few days, it looks like most of these for now will be scooting south of Hawaii. First one over here, number 1, is decently developed but not strong. The second system, not really developed, not that strong. The one over the far eastern Pacific, number 3, stronger, but does not have that structure to it, that turning radius, that spin that you usually see. You can see it pretty clear in number 1 going through that area southeast of Hawaii, but you're not really seeing it from this system here. There's a little bit, but it's going to take time to organize, so we'll see how well that one goes into the next few days. If you missed this last night, this is really important and incredible to take a look at. Colorado State's tropical meteorology program, some of the best experts in the field work on this forecast that's initially put out around the area of April before the season starts June 1st. Typical season of named storms based on a 30-year average, usually about 14 named storms. Of those, about 7 become hurricanes, and of those major hurricanes, that's category 3 and above, about 3 become major hurricanes per year. The forecast into the last couple of weeks has been for about just lower than average. That's not too bad out there. But in the last update that came out yesterday, and this is very important to take a look at again with some of these numbers over here, the July 8th update is showing much less in the way of any activity out there. So 8 named storms, 4 of those becoming hurricanes, 1 of those, according to this forecast, becoming a Category 3 major hurricane. That is much lower than what we've seen over the course of the last almost 20 years or so. So that is a significant downturn in the forecast for the tropical season. Now, if you're going to a coastline anywhere around an ocean, you want to be careful with what's going on with the tropics, because from Brownsville to Key West and from Miami up to Boston and even Maine, you can get some really nasty storms to form, and it only takes one to really mess up a vacation or cause life-threatening issues. So that is something to really keep an eye on. We'll do that here. Also, ACE, accumulated cyclone energy. Typically in a season, it's ranked at about 123. That's just, again, the amount of energy in the top layers of the ocean. For this season, it was forecast to be well below normal at about 90, and now it's gone down by about half to about 49. You can thank El Nino in the Pacific for knocking down the forecast. That strong El Nino in the Pacific is going to affect weather in the Atlantic, and that's a natural thing. That's what goes on. And with a very, 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 very strong El Nino, which is what we're looking at for right now, that is where we could see even less storms and a quieter season. So it is possible that we could see quite the season coming up that will be well below normal. We'll see what happens on that. We still have several more months to go on the season, so stay tuned. Here's one of the reasons, again, all this dark color, the darker the brown, the more dust that's in the atmosphere. And notice also that that dust can curlicue around with the flow of the atmospheric winds and go right into the southeast United States. So in the next few days, there is going to be more drier air coming on through, and that latest push of dry air may not make it all the way up here, but there are several more plumes of dust on the way from the Atlantic across from Africa into the Caribbean and the Gulf, and we could easily wind up with more of that. The more dust there is, the less likely we're going to be seeing anything in the way of development. Where are we? 9:52 p.m. Stay tuned, because we'll be talking about some astronomical events going on. Our EPB fiber optics WeatherCam network page, you can get there at WDEF.com/weather if you'd like to see these pictures there. Next several days, thanks to the clouds and the rainfall coming on through, temperatures will be dropping a little bit, low 80s for Monday, and anytime you're not broiling in July, that's a very good day in my book. We're seeing the numbers re-increase into next week, so hotter conditions into next week, and then also, again, heavier chances of rain, flood watch today through Sunday, flash flooding risk into next Monday, and a marginal threat of severe weather possible for Friday and for Saturday. So it's very much a good time to be weather aware. So stay tuned for more on that. Coming up, it is, again, about half an hour away as we record this. If you want to see this, you have to have a clear view from the west-southwest to the east-northeast. The Chinese space station, named Tiangong, or Heavenly Palace, will be flying over the area at about 10:17, 10:20, somewhere in there. Look to the west-southwest. Again, you're not going to look for blinking lights. That's an airplane, and if it's going really fast, that's a meteor or an asteroid impact in the atmosphere. You want to watch for basically a moving star going across the sky from west-southwest to east-northeast. It will be coming very close to the bright star Arcturus in the constellation of Bootes the Shepherd. It'll also come very close to bright star Vega in the constellation of Lyra the Harp before fading into Pegasus. And again, that's going to be rising here in just about a half an hour. So if you want to get some sky spotting done, go out and take a look and see what's available there, and introduce your kids to a little bit of astronomy If you're able to do that for tonight, that'll be pretty good. And again, skies should be relatively clear, but you need a good view away from city lights. That will really help out there. Our weather poll question of the day brought to you by Williams Plumbing. Taking a look at the information from carbonbrief.org, taking a look at our atmosphere, the idea of a net zero carbon dioxide target. We emit so much carbon dioxide that it's enhancing the greenhouse effect and it's heating our planet up. That's where the climate change is coming from, and humans are mostly responsible for that increase. Now, we create the problem, we can fix it. Net zero is an issue and a practice and a campaign, if you will, of many countries around the world to reduce their carbon dioxide footprint and to help become hopefully CO2 neutral or negative CO2 by switching to anything in the way of renewable clean energy. Again, we've made the problem with CO2 using fossil fuels. We as humans can clean that up. Now, according to carbonbrief.org, how many of the world's countries have a CO2 net zero target already set? 55, 100, 140, or 196? And we had a three-way tie on this one for the number of votes. But the correct answer is, in fact, 196. Now, out of 198 countries, that means there are 2 countries that do not have a net zero target, and those countries are Iran and the United States. So something to think about there, especially with election season coming up, and to think about where you get a lot of your stuff from and whether or not it's worth increasing the carbon budget out there. Coffee and a forecast for the morning. It will be on the mild side. Temperatures back into around the low to mid 70s. Good possibility of more patchy fog thanks to the rain that came down across the area. That could be something to really take a look at, especially in the morning. And if you want to know more about traffic and weather and what's going on, check out News 12's Chip Chapman. He'll be on with the morning show coming up bright and early Friday morning starting at 5 a.m. So stay tuned for more on that. That should do it for tonight. We've only been on for about 20 minutes, somewhere in there, so that's not too totally terrible. Again, we're on a little bit early because of the fact that it's almost 10 o'clock, and we want to wrap things up here on Weather Overtime so that we can get the recording stuff in the studio going here in just about 2 to 3 minutes or so. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up for this evening. Once again, thanks to News 12 sponsor Epicos Comics, Cards, and Games for being our sponsor for Weather Overtime. And if everything works in the next about week and a half or so, if we keep on a normal schedule and we don't have gremlins in the system, we will be doing a minor celebration here at News 12 because in a couple of days we'll be celebrating our 500th Weather Overtime video blog, if I did my counting correctly on there. So we'll see what happens there with that. Don't forget, you can check us out again on social media pages on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch if you'd like to watch live there. And you can also find me on all these areas and at our website, WDEF.com/weather. It's been a very quiet, semi-muggy evening out there. We'll keep you updated on the forecast. I'll have more coming up tonight on News 12 at 11, so stay tuned for that. Andrew Harrison will be joining me for the late show edition. And, of course, Chip will be on in the morning with the weather, so stay tuned for more there. Live and direct from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austen Onek. Thank you for joining us for Weather Overtime. And again, you can find out more by watching News 12 later on tonight and by going to our website, WDEF.com/weather. We'll talk to you again coming up later. In the meantime, keep it tuned.